So you're walking down the street in Arizona. Observe a group of people standing on the street or sitting on benches or walking around or whatever. How do you know which of those people you should reasonably suspect is in this country illegally? Good news. California Republican Congressman Brian Bilbray has thought about this. He has an idea.
We have the policies that there are things that you indicate that even go beyond the color of your skin, the hair, that looks at the fact, the way you dress.
Did you know that there's illegal-looking hair? Personally, as a person who's never thought of myself as a good hair person, whose mother immigrated here from another country, I will admit to feeling self-conscious upon learning that there is illegal-looking hair. The expert here, Congressman Bilbray, was on Hardball with Chris Matthews last night, and he's explaining here how law enforcement officials can identify by sight, but not by race, people who are worthy of suspicion.
They will look at the kind of dress you wear. There is different type of attire. There's different type of, right down to the shoes, right down to the clothes.
You can be shaken down for illegal-looking shoes? Should I be more paranoid than normal? Congressman Bilbray went on to describe that law enforcement would decide who's in the country illegally mostly by behavior, by people acting illegal-ish. He was weighing in on Arizona's strict immigration bill that was passed by the state House and the state Senate. It's the Support Our Law Enforcement and Safe Neighborhoods Act, a very feel-good name for a bill that at its core would make it a crime to not carry papers documenting your citizenship or your immigration status. Papers, please. Arizona police officers would be told that they must stop and demand documentation from anyone they suspect to be an illegal immigrant. Anyone caught without papers, arrested. What counts as reasonable suspicion that somebody's an illegal immigrant? Proponents of the law keep insisting it has nothing to do with race. They'll just be looking out for, your illegal-seeming hair and shoes. Republican Governor Jan Brewer, who is up for re-election this fall, has until Saturday to veto the bill or sign the bill or let it automatically become state law without her signature. There have been protests all week, including 9 college students who changed themselves to the fence outside the old state capitol building on Tuesday. They said they would refuse to leave until the governor vetoed the bill. Police cut their chains and arrested them on charges of disorderly conduct. When they were let out at about 1 o'clock in the morning, more than 100 supporters were waiting for them. Also opposing the You Don't Look American bill are members of Congress, clergy, local and national newspaper editorial boards, civil rights groups, human rights groups, law enforcement organizations, all calling on Governor Brewer to not make history here, to veto this bill. The man who sponsored the bill is Republican State Senator Russell Pierce. Once upon a time, not that long ago, Senator Russell Pierce was considered in Arizona to be a bit of a political outlier, someone thought to be too way out on the fringe even for members of his own party. For example, in 2006, then State Representative Pierce forwarded his supporters an article that was written by a white supremacist group called the National Alliance. The article accuses the media of pushing the view of, quote, a world in which every voice proclaims the equality of the races, the inerrant nature of the Jewish Holocaust tale, the wickedness of attempting to halt the flood of non-white aliens pouring across our borders. Russell Pierce sent that out to his supporters by email. He did eventually apologize for that, said he hadn't read it closely before he sent it on. But before Arizonans could forget about the anti-Semitic creepy email, Mr. Pierce attended an anti-immigration rally. Not in a racist, white supremacist kind of way. No, this was an honest, wholesome, bigotry-free political get-together where a politician like Russell Pierce could hang out with his supporters and his constituents and like-minded folks who really are not racist at all. They just care about the issue. See, here he is with some guy who has what looks like a lot of patriotic flair on his lapels, just hanging out at the rally. Arizona State Legislator Russell Pierce, and who's he hugging? Oh, yeah, that's noted white supremacist J.T. Reddy, seen here at a proud neo-Nazi rally in Omaha next to all the guys in swastikas. Again, Governor Brewer has until Saturday to decide whether or not to sign the anti-immigration Papers, Please bill, literally written by the anti-Semitic email forwarding picture with the neo-Nazi guy. Good luck with your decision, Governor. Joining us now is the Vice Mayor of the great city of Phoenix, Arizona, Michael Nowakowski. Mr. Nowakowski, thanks very much for joining us. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Rachel, for having me on the show.
Let me ask what your position is on this proposed bill. What impact you think it would have on the city of Phoenix?
Oh, you know, I'm against the bill. The economic impact on our city is just going to be outrageous. I mean, we have people that are boycotting the state of Arizona. We have a governor in Sonora asking the citizens of Mexico not to come shop on our border towns, and that would ruin those border towns because that's where most of the Mexican citizens cross over the border to buy their groceries in the United States.
In just the last 10 minutes, Mr. Nowakowski, we learned that Governor Brewer just gave a press announcement. She just announced her plan that she says to deal with the issue of illegal immigration. According to what we've just been told, the governor focused on National Guard patrols, aerial surveillance, $10 million of support for local law enforcement in the border region. She made no mention of the pending legislation. Do you think that Governor Brewer is going to sign this bill? Do you think she's going to veto it? Do you have any indication of how it's going to go?
You know, I believe that she's going to sign it, but if she listens to all those young people and listens to the community, she'll veto that bill. And if she's thinking for the best interest of Arizona, she'll veto that bill.
I know, sir, that you sent a letter to the Phoenix city manager requesting that everyone, regardless of ethnicity, show proof of citizenship to avoid racial profiling charges when stopped by police. What was the idea behind that letter? What's your proposal there?
Well, you know, Rachel, we're going to get sued. Someone's going to end up suing us because we're going to break federal law on racial profiling, or we're going to break this if the governor signs this law into effect. We're going to break state law for not arresting or asking individuals for their citizenship. So we need to be fair. How do you identify an undocumented individual or an illegal alien? Is it, like the congressman said, by their shoes, by the way they dress? No way. There's no way you can tell an individual. I mean, Hispanics come from all different walks of life. You have light, color, dark hair, curly hair. It's what they call a mix of all different cultures. So the only way is by racially profiling people. So I'm asking our city manager to ask the police officers at the city of Phoenix to ask everyone for their proof of citizenship. So this way we can't get sued for racial profiling. We don't have the funding. We just took a $240 million budget cut, and we just don't have the funding to deal with all these lawsuits that could potentially happen.
Mr. Nowakowski, I know that Phoenix is a very diverse city. My dad spent some time growing up in Arizona. I've spent some time in Phoenix, and I feel like it's both racially diverse and politically diverse. One thing that's puzzled me is why conservatives are okay with the idea of demanding papers, please, from everybody, of having such an intrusive law enforcement mandate. Police officers aren't even allowed judgment in this. They are mandated under threat of being sued that they must stop people and demand documentation from them. It's such a big government proposal. One of the things that surprised me is that I haven't heard more resistance on the right to just this in terms of its intrusiveness. Has that sort of objection arisen at the local level?
You know, at the local level, we just had our county attorney, Rick Romley, which is a very strong Republican, asked the governor to veto the bill. You know, so we have Republicans, we have Democrats, we have independents and business owners asking the governor, please, to veto the bill. And now I'm here asking her, please, to veto the bill, because it's not good for the state of Arizona, and especially it's not good for the city of Phoenix.
Phoenix Vice Mayor Michael Nowakowski, thank you very much for your time tonight, sir. Really appreciate getting your perspective on this.
Well, thank you, Rachel.